middleweight prospect Al Matavao. Thank you so much for joining me. What's going on in your part of the world right now?
It's not so bad, man. Trying to live around the COVID thing going on over here, but we're managing it.
In Alaska, has it been that bad? Because it seems like I would think, me, that Alaska's more isolated compared to other parts of the world. Is that true?
No, kinda.
Mm.
Yes and no. So we had a lockdown and we kind of opened up in phases, but now everything is kind of back to normal, but kinda, not really. But people are still like wanting to be in groups, which is kind of hard because the numbers spiking up every day. So it's crazy.
How has it affected you in just in your daily life?
It hasn't actually, because I go to work every day. I come home, I go train, and it doesn't really affect me though. As long as no one's around me, it's getting tested positive, then I'm good. But it hasn't really affected me though. Everything is like going to work, training, everything is normal for me.
All right, well, let's get into some of your accolades. AF Alaska Fighting Championship, X1 light heavyweight titles. Which one means
Yeah,
more?
I would say X1. That's my most recent one.
Why you feel that way?
It's kind of weird, man, because I've I've won the light heavyweight title in Alaska for in 2015, and ever since then I haven't defended that belt ever since. But I've been fighting ever since. So I've
Mm.
had like four or five fights since I had the belt, but I haven't like nobody wants to fight for it or anything. So when I got the opportunity to fight for the X1 light heavyweight and I got it, I was like, okay, hell yeah. But then that one it's probably the one I would pick over the Alaska one because no one wants the belt here in Alaska. So, but there's also hard to find light heavyweight guys up here, so they would have to fly some guys in to fight me. But other than that, yeah, I would pick X1.
You would think that guys would be jumping at the chance to fight for the title, like just like you
Exactly.
did.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's kind of crazy. It's so hard. It's like people coming from heavyweight and then just skip light heavy, just go straight to middleweight. But I was like, okay, well, if nobody wants this belt, okay, fine. I'll just keep it unless somebody calls me for it. But then nobody did. So it's been 3 years, almost going on 4 years since I haven't defended that belt. It's crazy.
It is. It is. It's a wild situation right there with that title. But looking back at your resume, you have two losses, man. The first loss you avenged, and you
I
got that
ventured for the
title
title.
right for the title,
Yeah.
right? Jeff Sanderson. That was an
Then
incredible fight, man. And getting revenge is something that is sweet, right?
that was a turning point in my career when I
Mm.
lost to him, and that I took MMA serious after that. And I when I heard he got the belts, like, hey, I'm coming for it. So I trained a couple months, and I was like, I asked the promoter, hey, give me that belt. I want to fight for that belt, and then they gave it to me. So it was nice.
It is. It is.
But
It's good.
but the other fight, the other lost. I don't know. The guy is in heavyweight now.
Yeah, yeah. What was the situation around that? Because that was your only heavyweight fight, I believe. Was it just like a last minute thing?
No, no, it was set up. I fought Jake Hume. It was a setup. It was set up.
And what did you learn from that experience going up to heavyweight, fighting a guy that's pretty much an open weight? He's a big dude.
So it was an opportunity for me because Jake Hume was a big name, especially in Alaska, and like he fought in bigger promotions too. So it was an opportunity for me. So when they throw that name out there, like nobody wants to fight him, I was like, I'll take him. So so it was an opportunity for me just to put myself out there to challenge myself to bigger guys and experienced guys, and I've learned a lot. With me, I've been fighting pretty much every guy that size, that weight, and I'm too small for that. So I've learned a lot that I I shouldn't still be fighting at that weight. I should have been gone down a long time ago, at least middleweight or welterweight at that point.
All right, so I guess in the future we might see you at a lower weight class then.
For sure. Yes. That's a game plan.
Because you fought at middleweight your last fight, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's
In
no
Hawaii.
problem for you to make it. It's not a
Oh
big
no.
deal. Okay, so now
Not a
all
big.
these people they worry about fighters making weight and are they gonna miss weight with the COVID? That's no problem for you.
Oh no. That's no problem for me. I fell off a wagon a couple months ago. You know, my fiance picked me up. You know, like you better get your ass back in shape. So here I am. No, so I'm good.
All
I
right.
have no problem like making 85 like next week.
Okay, okay. Now, to prepare the fans for the Contender series, your Contender series fight, which past fight should they go back and watch to kind of get them hyped for you?
I would say my two recent one, my last two one in Hawaii, because I feel like those were my best performances. And on my last one, I won by knockout, which was super dope, man. It was on my birthday too. It was like a gift for me, so it was kind of nice. I would say go to the last two because those were the good ones.
All right, go check out the birthday gift knockout, I guess, in the last fight, right?
Yes,
All right, all right.
yes,
Now, I see that you work at Legacy Jiu Jitsu. Is that where you got your start?
yes. Actually yes. So no, no. I started off at Gracie Paha, which is they owned by the same people.
Okay.
So Legacy Jiu Jitsu was built by the same, not the same, but one of the instructors from Gracie Paha. He went off and got his own gym, but then later on down the road, he bought Gracie Paha, so now it became one. So I would say yes, yes and no.
Yes and no. It's a
Yes,
situation right there.
yeah,
All right, all right. Now, were you right away in pro training, or did it take you a little while to kind of love the idea of being a fighter?
yeah. It took me a little while, man. Like when I first started, I went and did my own amateur MMA without my teammate and my coaches knows about it because I wanted to see if I would like it. And I won my two MMA matches. Like, oh, it's kind of nice. So I told my coach, hey man, let me get a pro fight. He was like, oh man, you gotta do at least do an amateur. I was like, oh, I did that already. Don't worry, I got that covered for you. So on my first fight, man, like I had to cut like so many pounds. I had to cut like at least 45 to 50 pounds just to get down to 205. I was a heavy set dude on my first fight, and then it felt really good. The weight cut, it didn't bother me at all. I felt like that was the best card I've ever had because I did everything right from the get-go to the devil ends. But after that, I felt like, oh, okay, let's give it one more try. I had another pro fight. I was like, I don't know. And then my third pro fight is when I lost to Sanderson. That's when it hit the switch for me. So I was like, okay, this is what I really want. And then when he got that title, it really motivated me to come get it. And I was like, okay, I'm coming for it. So that was a turn for me.
Guys, when they lose, it's the opposite way. You know what I mean? Like they lose and they're like, oh, maybe it's not for me, but for you, and you lost, and you're like, okay, I gotta take this seriously. I gotta do my thing.
So funny story is that when I lost to Sanderson is when Dana White was on the tour to looking for a fight, and then he came to Alaska on that card, and that really motivated me when I lost in front of Dana White because I didn't get to showcase what I have on the table. So it was my cousins like, hey man, Dana White's coming to town. I was like, oh really? Yeah, do you have a fight? Like, no. And I was like, coach, put me on this next card. It was like in 2 weeks, so it was like a short notice. So then I got a match. So the funny story about that, so my opponent pulled out the day of the fight. Sanderson stepped up the day of the fight. And it really sucked for me because I was like had this whole game plan to fight this guy. So when somebody with different style step up, it really changed my game plan. So I just went in there just go crazy because Dana White was there. So and that was a lesson learned for me too. So I went in and tried to kill this guy, but he took me down. I didn't have a ground game back then, and he just lay on me, and then that's how the fight stopped. I was like, damn, I didn't get to impress Dana White, but hopefully this time I will.
Yeah, man, those obstacles, man, those speed bumps, they get you where you're at
Yes.
right now, right? If you didn't have that, maybe you
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be fighting anymore. Who knows?
Exactly.
All
Mm-hmm.
right, all right. Well, I know that you
Sure.
have a lot of coaches that have developed you, but it seems like your fiance has had the most impact on your career. You know, how much credit do you give her for you being at the position you're at right now?
Everything. I gave her all the credit. She actually the one who got me into it. So when I first started, when I moved up here in Alaska, I was only doing just that. I was only doing boxing. And at one night at the boxing arena, she was sitting at the ringside. So she recognized me, but I didn't recognize her at first. So like the next day, I went to work, and she came to work. We didn't like she was working the same company that I was. So she like offer to pick me up to come try out a Muay Thai class. So hey, you should come try out a Muay Thai class. So I was like, sure. She came pick me up. We went to Muay Thai class. Man, that was the worst I've ever felt for a first Muay Thai class. I've never kicked before, like hard or even lift my leg up because all I did was boxing. So like when I did my first Muay Thai class, it was crazy. But then after that, if it wasn't for her introducing me to Muay Thai class and to the Muay Thai instructor, I wouldn't be here for sure. Because throughout my whole career fight, she's pretty much my corner. Even though like I have my own corner, but she's the number one.
Yeah, yeah, man. You need that. You need that rock. Now, if you would describe your style, would you consider yourself the light heavyweight Frankie Edgar?
Yes, I consider myself that. I move a little bit too much, just like Frankie Edgar. I don't know, but I really haven't showcased that in last two fights because it was finished in the first round. But the fight before the Hawaii fight, I was kind of showing some of my footwork and my head movement in that fight. And it was also a short notice fight, so I wasn't really prepared for the guy. So I was kind of just try to fight through him. And he was a wrestler, so I hate fighting wrestlers, just to be honest. But they're really fun. Fighting wrestlers are. I hate it, and it's fun at the same time.
Well, you're not gonna have any problems with your upcoming fight on the Contender Series because you're taking on a striker in Tafon Nchukwi. What are your thoughts on him and the style of fighting that he brings?
He seemed like a pretty cool guy, man. Like I watched some of his interview. He's a really nice guy, you know. At the end of the day, where there's one thing at the end of the road is that contract. So, and he's pretty fast for his size. I would say he's a big guy. He's been fighting at heavyweight, so for his size, I would say he's pretty fast for his size. But I don't know if I've ever faced anybody this small with my skill set that I have with me. So it's gonna be a fun fight for sure. It's gonna be a bang because if he a striker and I'm a striker, it's gonna be a bang.
Definitely,
It's
definitely.
gonna be a
Yeah,
fun fight.
this is a fun. Yeah, I already know, man. I already know. I've seen you guys both fight before, and yeah, it's gonna be a fun fight. It's gonna be one of those fights I think that people are gonna remember when this whole season is over. They're gonna be like, yeah, Al and Tafon, they put it in work in this fight.
Oh yeah, we are on last week of the season 2, so it's gonna be a memorable fight.
All right. Well, with training camp, did you have yours at the gym, or did you have to adjust yourself and maybe do a lot of the workouts at home? What was going on?
So when COVID first hit, I've been doing all my workouts. I stopped going to the gym because I didn't want to get caught. I started doing all my workout outside on a track at a high school, and my fiance, she would hold pads for me pretty much the whole time until like things were settling down and gyms start opening up. But I was pretty much doing my workout at home and on high school tracks.
What type of performance do you think you need to have to get that contract from Dana White? Do you think you need to get that finish?
Oh yeah, first round knockout. It's the goal right there. First round knockout. If not, it's gonna be a banger. I'm gonna show Dana White that I have the skill set. I belong in the UFC for sure.
All right. One last thing. There's many different types of mentalities in this sport. Do you feel like you have more of a martial artist mentality or a prize fighter mentality?
A martial art for sure.
Mm.
And I've like there's so many things to think about when it comes to fight, and I try to prepare myself to that point. So I try to have a really strong mindset leading up to a fight or going into my fight. So with the help of my fiance, my teammate, and my coach, that's how I will like keep my mindset and my conscience clean, just to be ready, mentally ready for the fight.
All right. Well, the fight, man, September 8th, Contender Series. Al, appreciate the
Yes,
time, man.
right.
I'm really looking forward to this fight, man. I'm glad I got this opportunity to speak with you because I did speak with
Thank you.
Tafon too, and both you guys are very nice guys, big guys with lots of power, but some of the nicest guys to speak to, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me, bro. I really appreciate that.